Hey there. So I just spent the entire week with the 2026 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid, and honestly, I'm kind of blown away by what Toyota has managed to pull off here. I mean, when I first heard they were making a hybrid version of the Corolla Cross, I'll admit I was a bit skeptical because, sometimes these hybrid conversions can feel like an afterthought, but this feels like they actually put some serious thought into it. Let me start with what immediately caught my attention when I first laid eyes on this thing. The design is, well, it's definitely more refined than the regular Corolla Cross. Toyota gave it this slightly more aggressive front fascia with a redesigned grille that actually helps with aerodynamics, which is super important for a hybrid. The LED headlights are standard across all trims now, which is awesome because the lighting is just so much better than the old halogen units. And speaking of trims, they've got three levels: L, LE, and XLE, with the XLE being the one you probably want if you're looking for all the bells and whistles. Now, let's talk about the heart of this vehicle, because that's really where the magic happens. The powertrain combines Toyota's familiar 2.0-liter four-cylinder engine with their hybrid system, and the total system output is 196 horsepower. That might not sound like a lot on paper, but here's the thing, and this is where it gets really interesting. The instant torque from the electric motor makes this feel so much more responsive than you'd expect. The engine produces 152 horsepower on its own, while the electric motor adds another 118 horsepower, though they don't all stack up linearly because of how the system works. But trust me, it feels plenty quick for what this is. The fuel economy is where this thing absolutely shines, though. We're talking about an EPA estimated 50 miles per gallon in the city and 47 on the highway, with a combined rating of 49 mpg. I mean, come on, that's seriously impressive for something with this much ground clearance and utility. During my week with it, I was consistently seeing numbers in the high 40s, even with a pretty heavy right foot, which, let's be honest, is probably better than most people do in real-world driving. The all-wheel drive system is standard, and this is really cool because it's not your traditional mechanical AWD. Instead, they use a separate electric motor to power the rear wheels, which means you get instant traction when you need it without the efficiency penalty of a traditional AWD system most of the time. The rear motor puts out about 54 horsepower, which is more than enough for most situations you'll encounter. I took this thing through some light trails and even a bit of snow during my test week, and it handled everything I threw at it with confidence. Inside, and this is where Toyota has really stepped up their game, the interior feels way more premium than the previous generation. The base L trim comes with an 8-inch touchscreen, which is actually pretty decent. But if you step up to the LE or XLE, you get a 10.5-inch display that's honestly one of the better infotainment systems Toyota has put out recently. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard, thankfully, because we're way past the point where that should be optional equipment. The seats are surprisingly comfortable for longer drives. I did a 300-mile road trip in this thing, and my back wasn't screaming at me when I got out, which is always a good sign. The front seats in the XLE trim get power adjustment and heating, which is nice, though I wish they'd offer ventilation as an option because, summer exists. The rear seats are actually pretty spacious for this class. I'm about 6 feet tall, and I could sit behind myself without my knees hitting the seat back, which is not something I can say about a lot of compact SUVs. Cargo space is really where this shines for daily usability. You got 25.5 cubic feet behind the rear seats, which doesn't sound like a lot until you realize how well Toyota has packaged everything. The hybrid battery is tucked under the rear floor, so you don't lose any space compared to the regular Corolla Cross. Fold the rear seats down, and you've got 59.7 cubic feet to work with, which is honestly more than enough for most people's needs. I managed to fit my mountain bike in there without removing the front wheel, which was pretty impressive. Safety-wise, Toyota Safety Sense 2.0 is standard across all trims and includes pre-collision system, lane departure alert, automatic high beams, and dynamic radar cruise control. The XLE adds blind spot monitoring and rear cross-traffic alert, which are features I honestly think should be standard on every vehicle at this point. The system works really well in practice, though the lane keeping assist can be a bit aggressive sometimes, especially on caviar roads. Now, let's talk about driving dynamics because this is where things get really interesting. The ride quality is actually quite good for something riding on 17-inch wheels on the LE and XLE trims. The base will get 16-inch wheels, which probably ride even better, though I didn't get a chance to test that setup. The steering is light but not vague, and the handling is competent, if not exactly sporty. This isn't trying to be a performance vehicle, and that's totally fine, because what it is trying to be, it does really well. The hybrid system is incredibly smooth in operation. The transition between electric and gas power is almost seamless, and the CVT transmission, which I usually find pretty annoying, is actually well tuned here. It doesn't do that annoying rubber band thing as much as other CVTs I've driven recently. There are different drive modes, including normal, eco, and sport, and honestly, I found myself leaving in normal most of the time because eco makes it feel a bit sluggish and sport doesn't really add much beyond holding gears longer. One thing I really appreciate is how quiet this thing is at lower speeds when it's running on electric power alone. It's not completely silent like a full electric vehicle, but it's quiet enough that you'll definitely notice the difference compared to a traditional gas engine. The build quality feels solid too, with panel gaps that are nice and tight, and interior materials that feel like they'll hold up well over time. Pricing starts at around $28,000 for the base L trim, which puts it right in line with other compact hybrid SUVs. The LE comes in at about $30,500, and the loaded XLE is around $33,000, which honestly feels like pretty good value when you consider everything you're getting. Standard all-wheel drive, 50 mpg, and Toyota's reputation for reliability, that's a pretty compelling package. If I had to pick one complaint, it would be that the acceleration, while adequate, isn't exactly thrilling. This is very much a point A to point B vehicle, and if you're looking for something with more personality behind the wheel, you might want to look elsewhere. But for most people who just want something reliable, efficient, and practical, this hits all the right notes. So would I recommend the 2026 Corolla Cross Hybrid? Absolutely, especially if you're looking for something that'll sip fuel while giving you the versatility of a small SUV. It's not the most exciting vehicle on the road, but sometimes that's exactly what you want, and Toyota has really nailed the execution here.